My e-commerce brand has generated me more than $7.5 million in sales in the past 3 years without testing any new products. And in this short video, I'm gonna show you the 5-step process that pretty much took my store from barely making any profit to consistent 6-figure months, even though it's a highly seasonal product in a relatively small niche. I hope that you enjoy it. To most of you guys, this probably sounds very unrealistic, to do multiple 7 figures with only one product, but let me show you. I've got a lifetime ROAS of over 2.5x across Facebook and Google, and honestly, on average, I'm spending like 15 to 30 minutes every single day managing my ads. So after I explain my whole strategy, it will completely make sense to you how you can scale a single product to like great numbers without it completely dying off and build a big sellable brand in the process. So the first and main thing that pretty much unlocked everything else for me was knowing how to properly analyze your numbers and knowing how to read the data. So I'm not talking about just knowing your break-even ROAS and your target ROAS. I'm talking about analyzing your whole funnel properly and knowing how every metric is affecting the whole store's performance. That includes, for example, understanding the soft metrics on your creatives, knowing how it affects the conversion rate on the store as well. Also on the back end, analyzing your finances and like really nailing down your margins, etc., so that you understand the whole thing holistically. So for me specifically, when I was, starting off with the brand, I was looking at the numbers and I saw like, okay, the traffic is cheap, but people are actually buying a lot of the bundles. So it really made sense, and I made a higher value offer. I tested a buy one get one free offer, and here on the screen you can see the difference. Like one single offer test got my AOV up from $170 to more than $200, so like a $40 increase, and skyrocketed my conversion rate by over 75%, which took my ROAS from 3x to more than 6x in just a few days. And the craziest thing is, up to this point, the offer is still running strong, and it has pretty much generated multiple 7 figures in sales. So having the right foundation is obviously key, because once you know where your problem is, you eliminate all the guesswork, you simply solve it, and the whole thing grows by default. So at least for me, in my e-commerce journey, it was not about, knowing how to solve the problem. That's the easy part. The hard part is knowing which problem is there to be solved, because it's not that obvious. And once you figure that out, here comes the fun part. Once I dialed in my offer and started sourcing very good content, scaling to 10 to 15K days felt like a breeze. Like everything was running profitably, the campaigns were very sustainable and overall very scalable, and I was able to scale my store to over 1 million in sales in just over 6 months. Now, there's a formula to all of this, and sourcing good content is not just about, finding a few random content creators and sending them your product and expecting the 3x ROAS on Facebook. It's not what I mean. But after spending more than $2 million on Facebook ads, I've identified several creative types that are proven to work. They don't only perform like crazy, but they make your customers perceive your store as a real brand and not as some scammy dropshipping store. And some of the creatives that I'm running on the account have been running for more than 3 years now, and have scaled to like multiple 6 figures like on one single creative. And the one that I have on the screen right here is my top performing creative. It's actually a GIF creative, so it's not even a proper video. And as you can see, it has generated more than 400K in sales. And actually, like, that's not the whole ad account. But to prove my point, like, once you find the creative that works on Facebook, you can really scale it to very high numbers. And scaling ads and making a shit ton of money is very cool. But once you do like multiple 6 figures per month, 2 things are guaranteed to happen. Copycat dropshippers are gonna steal all of your creatives, and it will create a lot of competition. And second, your ROAS is guaranteed to drop. That's gonna happen because your ads are gonna get shown to colder and colder audiences, and either your traffic is gonna get crazy expensive or your conversion rate will drop, and as a result, your overall profitability will decrease. But what I can tell you is that's completely normal. What is more important is how you're gonna react to it, right? First and foremost, every single step of your funnel needs to be very optimized. From the hook and your whole creative, to every single element on your landing page, to the back end, to your post-purchase flows, to your margins and your costs with your supplier, everything. Otherwise, your margin will drop and you'll be running a massive non-profit, and trust me, that's a very stressful thing to do. And the second thing is, you need to become the go-to brand in your space. Very easy to say, quite hard to do. And dominating your competitors in your niche comes down to two things. First, you need to be very good at direct response marketing and have killer creatives and landing pages. And second, you need to have pristine customer experience and very well branded store and products. And that goes way beyond just putting your logo on the product and on the packaging and changing, a few elements on the website. It's more about the messaging and the overall experience that people will get, when they're shopping for your brand. However, if you fail with your branding and positioning when your store is still young, it's gonna be very hard to erase that once your brand becomes big and becomes viral, okay? So pretty much if you spent all this time building a brand like Toyota, you can't just switch to a Porsche all of a sudden, right? I hope it makes sense. So after building the foundations for your brand, the most important thing is to just keep the ball rolling and keep the volume of content production very high and pretty much manage all the processes. You have to constantly bring out new hooks, new angles, new creative concepts, as well as new offers, new landing pages. So it's very crucial to have proper systems and processes in place. And from my experience, I definitely had moments when I was completely burned out and out of creativity, and I was pretty much forcing myself to come up with new creative angles and ideas, but it was simply not happening because I was a one-man show. So the next step is pretty much becoming a true CEO of your business and not just a one-man show that does all the jobs. And as you can see, the most important aspects of being an e-commerce CEO is controlling the finance part of the business, the advertising, and the store management, and establishing processes so that you can hire people to manage the time-consuming tasks that you have within all of those aspects. That's when a strong team becomes necessary. And just to be completely honest, no matter how hard you work, you as a solo entrepreneur will eventually get capped, and you will never beat your competitor that's got 10 strong people on their team. One thing, for example, that absolutely eased off the stress for me was hiring a customer support manager. So thanks to this guy Chris, I'm not thinking about customer support at all, and honestly, I just randomly check in. I have monthly meetups, and that's pretty much it. And as you can see on the screen, on Trustpilot, I have over 500 reviews on 4.3 star rating. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I never bought or faked reviews on Trustpilot ever. And the second most important hire on our team was our brand and content manager, Katerina. By far, the most crucial activity that will keep you consistent in the long run is having bulletproof content creation process. And here, you shouldn't outsource that completely, for example, to some content creation agency or some ad agency, but rather be very involved in the process, especially when it comes to coming up with new angles and coming up with scripts. And you should rather delegate just the time-consuming activities, because let's be honest, the marketing is the oxygen for your brand. So if you just hand it off to very incompetent people, let me tell you, most agencies have almost no context about your specific brand and your specific customers. So if you think that they're gonna be as dedicated as you and your team when pretty much coming up with your ads, you're wrong. So Katerina manages all the content creators, she communicates with them, collects all the content, sends the briefs to the video editors so that we have new ads ready to go for our ad account. And what I need to do basically is coming up with new ideas, scripting videos, and really making sure that the angles are hitting our target customer. But most importantly, that freed up a lot of my time to get inspired, get a lot of new ideas from external sources, and honestly just enjoy the fruits of my labor. But let me tell you, none of that would have been possible if I first relied on agencies or some cheap VAs to do all the work for me, because they will never be as dedicated as I want them to be. And second, hired the cheapest people I could ever find, because I would have spent more time managing them than actually doing the task myself, if that makes sense. So once you implement all of that, you've probably reached a point where you're 7 figures or multiple 7 figures, And now you have a real decision to make, which is, do I really want to run this brand for the long run, or I can just sell it and move on to another project? Because you might as well expand the brand to new markets, bring it into Amazon FBA, grow the team even bigger, or come up with custom products, exactly what Highsmile did, for example. But either way, the most important thing is you'll know the process of getting there, so by the end of it, you'll have a truly valuable and sellable business, not like most dropshipping stores that are setting at less than 1x profit. For example, as you can see on the presentation, I got a cash valuation for my brand for multiple 6 figures, and I actually turned it down because I think the brand will do that much money in profit within the following years, so it really doesn't make any sense. I want to just keep it, extract more and more profit, and just sell it a little bit later, because your business becomes more and more valuable the longer you keep it. But none of that would have been possible if I was testing products left and right like a headless chicken and switching stores and niches left and right. And even aside from the big payoff, like, you'll be able to run a proper business, like lead a team, finally leave your bedroom and start exploring the world, instead of running like a constant cash machine, which are most of the online businesses out there, and never build something sustainable. Now, the road to getting there is actually simple, but it's not very easy, right? On my journey, I had to probably lose like 200 to 300K just because of like all the mistakes that I did, or money that I would have made if I had optimized a little things on my store. So that's why I want to help you skip through all of the mistakes that I did and guide you step by step on how to scale your store to very good numbers without having to constantly test a lot of new products. Together, we'll dissect your whole store, we'll see where your weaknesses are as an entrepreneur, we'll make a 3-month game plan, and then on a weekly basis, we're gonna have detailed one-on-one conversations, pretty much implementing everything. And that's gonna pretty much cover how to properly script and source your new creatives, how to test your ads and offers without all the guesswork, how to optimize your whole funnel for maximum profitability and earnings from every single visitor, how to hire and manage your team properly. I'll give you all of my hiring templates and are gonna be by your side when doing the interviews. Also, we're gonna make a strategy on how you can dominate your specific niche with your specific product and develop your unique positioning and branding. So last but not least, you'll also have access to all of my resources and network, from 3PLs to like trusted people to hire, to payment processing contacts. All that stuff is gonna be covered. And if everything runs well, I can even give you brokers that are ready to buy your brand. So here comes the big question. Dago, why are you even doing this thing? Like, why don't you just start a new brand and focus on e-commerce? Why are you filming this video for me? I am actually building a new brand, but honestly, I wish someone had built such a program for me that guided me through the entire process, from actually growing a brand to like really scaling a business. Because let's be honest, like 90% of the programs out there just talk about, making creatives and scaling ads, and that's completely fine, right? It's the main driver of performance. However, it's not the full story, and it's not the real life experience of being an e-commerce entrepreneur. So my goal with this is to give you the real practical knowledge that I had to learn the hard fucking way. And now you're like, okay, but how do I make sure that this will all work out for me? See, I've worked with over 50 dropshippers in another mentorship program, and by far that's the most sustainable and simplest way to scale our store to multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures, by actually building a brand in the process. And after talking to like multiple 8-figure dropshippers, they don't test that many new products. They just focus on one brand or just a few brands and really dial in all the processes and the customer experience. So let's take a look at one of my students, Rasmus. He pretty much joined when he was doing only 50K a month. We worked with him very closely. He scaled to more than 150K a month in just 4 months. By the way, you can check the full interview on my YouTube channel and somewhere on the website page. But he pretty much hit more than 1 million in sales within his first year. I think doing like 25 to 30% margins, and now his store is currently sitting at more than $2 million in overall sales, which is crazy. I'm not selling you something that has never been done before. I've done it myself. My students have done it. and now I want you to do it as well. So make sure to check out the link below and schedule a free consultation session with me, and I'll see you on the other side.